Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly with you on your Friday morning. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Hope everybody's excited for the long weekend, Memorial Day weekend. We are excited. We've got a fun show planned for you today. Connor, what's going on?
What's up? It's been a eventful week.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
But it's a good one. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, you've been busy, whether it's producing DVD or yesterday having to step in and host DVD. But we are glad to have you in, as you usually are on Fridays. We got lots to get to today. We'll talk some college football. We'll get to some college basketball, too. The deadline
just for me
withdraw from the NBA draft is coming up in a few days, and we still have not heard on Tyler Tanner, so we'll talk about that. But, of course, Titans OTAs, the big story today. Yesterday was the first practice that was open to the media, so got to see some things with Cam Ward, Carnell Tate. Robert Saleh's talking about seed oils. It feels like football season's already here.
Were you like me yesterday and he said seed oils, and I thought, what the hell is that? So I researched it.
So seed oil, I've heard it. It's the big buzzword right now among health people, and maybe not even health people. Just I heard one of the texters reference Joe Rogan. It's just like the buzzword right now of, seed oils are bad for you. You want to use tallow and all that kind of stuff, whatever. I equate it to a few years ago, aspartame was the big thing. It's the artificial sweetener in diet soda. And everybody was saying, oh, you can't have that. It's going to cause cancer. But then the research comes out and it's like, in order for aspartame to be a carcinogen, actually having a noticeable effect on causing cancer, you'd have to have 60 Diet Cokes every single day. And so I think seed oils, I'm sure there are health benefits to removing seed oils from your diet, but it seems like it's just the trend, the fab right now.
Well, D-Mace and I D-Mace and I kind of did the research yesterday, and like a 50-year-old mother, I looked up what secret foods are seed oils in, and it's like protein shakes and bars, peanut butter, crackers, stuff like that, coffee creamer.
It's in a lot of stuff.
It's in a lot. Fried foods, which I can't imagine they're eating fried foods in the locker room, but I wonder if Brian Callahan was just Ubering Zaxby's to the locker room or something like that.
Well, and it's I wanted to research because Ian sent a Johns Hopkins article to Paul and Joe at the end of the show. And there is a quote at the very beginning of this article from Johns Hopkins. There is abundant evidence suggesting that seed oils are not bad for you. If anything, they are good for you.
Oh, great.
So who knows? Who knows? But the Titans have removed them all from the facility.
We are re-implementing seed oils into our daily diets.
In fact, instead of Gatorade and water, you're going to just be chugging seed oils as you walk off the field.
We're going to blend it into your shakes.
That would taste so gross, dude.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, that was the quote that kind of went viral around the NFL world yesterday of Robert Saleh saying they've eliminated seed oils. I don't care. If I don't think I'm going to say that whatever record the Titans have this year, seed oils are not going to win or lose a game for the Titans this year.
It's such a non-story. But
it's out there, and it's May, so people are going to jump all over it.
And it's one of the first things he said yesterday in his introductory press conference for OTA. So there was a lot that came out yesterday, though, about Cam Ward's, his body type, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Said he lost 10 pounds.
He lost 10 pounds. They said his arm is perfectly healthy. That was the exact quote, was perfectly healthy.
Yep.
Apparently, Carnell Tate looked like the savior, according to some outlets. But we had TD on yet. TD did double duty yesterday for us. So
yes,
he came back in for me and D-Mace, and he said, he looked really good. I'm not ready to crown him, wide receiver one of all time after one practice, but he looked really, really good.
Right. So, it's May 21st, and so you don't want to get too high, too low on any given player, right? We are almost a full 4 months away from playing meaningful football games. But it is nice to see that the guy you drafted 4th overall, at least in the first practice that you got to see him going through it with the full team, that he looked the part. right? Like that is part of it, right? That's step one is you look the part in practice. And by all accounts yesterday, Carnell Tate was the guy that everyone had their eyes on in practice. He had 3 touchdowns, a big 50-yard bomb from Cam Ward, scored in the red zone. So again, it's so early, and I don't think we should all be saying Carnell Tate, 1,200-yard receiver, is a rookie, but it's a good first step. And as a city, an organization that has had wide receivers come in and not gotten off to a good first step, had to miss practices due to asthma early on with Treylon Burks. Like, there have been wide receivers that you've taken early. Corey Davis, and, again, still early. Corey Davis dealt with a hamstring injury pretty much the entire training camp and preseason of his rookie year. So to see Carnell Tate go out and have a good first step, I like it. I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I brought this up to the guys yesterday. I said, I can't recall the buzz about Treylon Burks being the level that the buzz about Carnell Tate is. And I know they're completely different receivers. One was taken at number 4 and the other one was taken at 18. There's a large difference in where they were taken in the first round. But at the same time, I think they were asked to come into a similar situation. You are entrusted to be the wide receiver 1 of this team moving forward. And I think the hype and the expectations around Carnell Tate are a lot higher than Treylon Burks on some level. And that said, I can't recall a time where everyone was talking about Treylon Burks the way they're talking about Carnell Tate right now.
Right. It's one practice, and I don't want to get put the cart ahead of the horse here, because you are so far away from training camp, preseason, and then week 1. So there's a long way to go for Carnell Tate to keep this up. But I mean, you'd rather have what we saw yesterday of everybody coming out of that practice saying Carnell Tate was the star of the day. That dude was all over the field. He was making plays, rather than Carnell Tate was just kind of another guy out there. So again, so early, but I'd rather have that than the alternative, and hopefully he can build on that throughout the rest of the offseason program and then into training camp in July.
Yeah, it's exciting. I think there are a lot of young pieces that played their hearts out yesterday. And again, it's not full practice. You have some people that missed. I think Alec Iomenter wasn't out there.
Yeah, I think Chimdike was out too.
Chimdike, I think, started and then went in.
And Ridley wasn't out there. So it was basically the only wide receivers that you had out there were Tate and Robinson, that are and Bryce Oliver of guys who are probably going to make the roster. I think I heard that KJ Osborne got a decent amount of run. It was weird to see like the videos and see a guy wearing 85. And at first I was like, oh, there's Chig. And I was like, oh, no, it's not Chig anymore. It's KJ Osborne.
Yep. Well, did you see the drill they ran yesterday where it was like they had the jugs machine and it was angled down? So it was just catching low passes. And I think that's an effective drill, but it was funny to watch. Like, they all went through line and not a single one of them came up with the catch just because it was going so fast and so low to the ground. Like Carnell Tate, he didn't do it, but it was an interesting drill to see.
Yeah, and I guess that's part of the process here in the offseason too, is you get to see the different style of this new coaching staff and what they're going to prioritize. I believe I saw some tweets praising Aaron Whitecotton for some of the drills that he was doing with the defensive line. And you get to see Brian Dable interacting with the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. And I saw TD put out his practice notes, and he said that, Cam Ward missed on one deep ball to Carnell Tate, and Brian Dable was sick about it. And, it's good to see that Brian Dable is expecting perfection may not be the word, but like he's expecting execution from his players right off the bat here in May. And it seems like overall the offense had a good day. They were moving the ball up and down the field, no matter who was the quarterback. I know Mitch Trubisky wasn't out there, but Ward, Levis, Hooker, I saw good things about all of them, and saw that there were a couple of bad moments for all of them. That's to be expected, learning a new system and starting the offseason program. But overall, it seems like the offense had a decent day, albeit with no Jeffrey Simmons out there as well.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the intensity of practice. What's the alternative? The alternative is what you have last year, where you have those plays, you have those missteps from Cam Ward and others, and then it's, go team, go. All right, we'll get them next week. We'll get them next time. Yeah, that's the alternative. So I think it's nice to hear that Brian Daboll, like you said, is sick about a incomplete deep ball in the first open practice that we see. I don't know how bad it was earlier in the week. We weren't allowed to be out there, and you weren't getting a lot of video there, but I think it's exciting to hear the new system, the new regime, and how they're running things. It's intense. I think you said it best. They're not expecting perfection, but they're expecting execution to the highest level, because this is an NFL practice. And I don't want to say jobs are on the line here, but in a roundabout way, they kind of are, because they are expected to take a bad team over the past 3-4 years and take them to the next level. Make them at least competitive. Maybe not playoff contenders, definitely not Super Bowl contenders, but at least make them something worth watching, something worth playing for. Yeah. Well,
Brian Daboll after practice yesterday.
Yeah, well, maybe Brian Kelly is not the best example to use of execution, considering he has done that a couple times.
It was so funny when he did that, trying to make the joke. I'm blanking on the coach who said it first, of like, yeah, I'm in favor of the execution of my entire team. Or no, what did you think of the execution of your team today? I'm in favor of it. Like, that's the line, and it was great. But Brian Kelly completely butchered it. 615-737-1025. We'll talk some more about Cam Ward. We've got some texts about Cam on the text line that I wanted to get into. The news, he said he lost 10 pounds over the offseason. And Matthew in Nashville has a good question about that. But before we wrap up the first segment, I did want to address, obviously, the horrible news yesterday about Kyle Busch. Shocking when I got that notification at 41 years old that he passed away. Obviously, our thoughts, prayers going out to the Busch family, the whole NASCAR world. I mean, I could not believe when I saw Kyle Busch, I was like, is there a different Kyle Busch?
Yeah.
And so I know the clip has been circulating of him after the race last Saturday saying, you never know when it's going to be your last one, and just horrible stuff, horrible news yesterday.
Yeah. I'm not a huge NASCAR person. I know you're not either, but you know the name Kyle Busch.
Right.
He is
love him or hate him.
He is one of the icons of NASCAR. So to see how he passed away and how quickly it was, because I think he was just hospitalized yesterday morning with a severe illness. And, later that afternoon, we got the alert that he had passed away. And it's just heartbreaking, not just as an icon, as a sports hero, but as a human being. You feel for his family. You feel for his wife. He has small children, so you feel for them. They don't get to grow up with a dad now. It's truly heartbreaking. So again, I echo your sentiment that thoughts and prayers, of course, are with his family, with NASCAR world, with all of sports, because this is one of those deaths, I think, in sports where you never forget where you were.
Yeah.
I was on the air. For me, we got the alert while Elliott was on, and obviously I couldn't mention it with Elliott on, and we didn't get to it till about the end of the show, but we had someone call in yesterday, just tears, not over the air, but it just tears. So it really shows you how impactful of a person he had on a lot of people, especially in this region's lives. Just truly, truly heartbreaking stuff.
Yeah, horrible news yesterday. Again, thinking of the Busch family, the NASCAR family, after such an untimely loss yesterday. And again, just could not believe it when I saw it. And we will continue to think about them as this unfolds here. 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly with you on this Friday morning. Next Man Up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly alongside you on your Friday morning. Titans OTAs yesterday. Lots of buzz around Carnell Tate, a couple other topics that were out there on social media. Let's go to our text line here, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. So Matthew in Nashville asked, do you find it concerning at all that Cam Ward said he lost 10 pounds? He was already barely over 210. He doesn't need to lose weight, in my opinion. He needs to add a little like Lamar and Josh Allen did. I will say Cam Ward's body type, very different from a guy like Lamar Jackson. Different from Josh Allen, too. Josh Allen is obviously taller, kind of, stockier. Cam Ward is a little bit bigger. Like, it's not like, I'm not saying that he was overweight, but
teammates called him chubby yesterday.
I think that's fine. Like, I'm not trying to body shame here, but yeah, Cam Ward was a little bit overweight. I have no problem with him losing 10 pounds if it makes him a little bit more mobile. But I also do agree with Matthew that there is a balance. You don't want him to be Jaden Daniels, where it's like you're skinny and like you can't take a hit. Cam Ward did show through 16 games in one drive that he was very durable, got jumped on by Alua Khan at the very end there and, had the AC joint sprain. But overall, he seemed to be durable. I don't think 10 pounds is going to change that all that much, but it could help him with some of the other aspects of his game.
No, I don't find it concerning. In fact, I find it the opposite. I find it encouraging because here's why. D-Mace and I kind of talked about this yesterday, but we came to the conclusion that he is developing his body. He is losing this weight because he thinks it's going to make him a better NFL quarterback. He was still in a college body, it will say. The freshman 15, as they call it. Not exactly, but he feels the need that he has to transform his body somewhat to feel that he can keep up with the NFL because the NFL is a different beast from Miami. The NFL is a faster game. It's a more complex game, and the defenses are just outright ruthless. So I feel that him losing this weight is going to, free up his joints a little bit, make him a little bit mobile around the pocket, not going to turn him into, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, the kind of quarterback that can take off and run for 50 yards at any given point. But what he is he's a pocket passer, and he's able to navigate around the pocket and move freely and create open space to find someone downfield and, use his arm to his advantage. I think that that's the point in him losing weight. And look, the Titans should be used to and okay with players losing weight and transforming their body to become something better. The story last year around this time,
it was Jeffrey Simmons.
Simmons.
J.C. Latham as well.
J.C. Latham too. But Jeffrey Simmons transformed his body. Granted, his was a bit more explosive than Cam Ward's is, but he transformed his body, lost the weight, became more mobile, and had probably the best season of his entire career.
Yep.
I'm not saying that's going to happen to Cam Ward because we just don't know yet. It's May 22nd. We got a long way to go before training camp. We got an even longer way to go before they actually hit the field in a meaningful game. But I think it's encouraging to see that he is willing to do whatever it takes to transform his body, become a better quarterback in his eyes. And look, if there's one thing we know about Cam Ward, it's that he's not going to take no for an answer.
Right.
So I think this is encouraging.
Yeah, and losing 10 pounds isn't all the same, right? Like, you could lose just 10 pounds of fat and put on no muscle.
And that's what it looks like he did.
Well, no,
the fat part, maybe not put on muscle,
but I'm saying, like, if he lost 15 pounds of fat and put 5 pounds of muscle on, the durability concerns may not be as big because he put on that muscle, but he's getting a little bit more spry out there.
I think he lost 10 pounds of bad weight. Of the fat.
Right. And that's
because he was chubby.
Well, yeah, it's like they've got strength coaches and nutritionists, and we just talked about the seed oil stuff. Like, they're monitoring all of this. And if the team and the staff didn't think it was in his best interest to lose 10 pounds, they wouldn't have had him lose 10 pounds. Like, this is the most controlled physical environment that you could possibly be in. Obviously there are issues with some players, like it was Nick Saban talking about Caden Proctor, and we've talked about this with Tamondre Sweat too, of like, some guys don't prescribe to what they are told to do, right? Like, maybe when they're in the building, they're lifting weights, but they're going to go out and DoorDash 15 McDoubles later on or something like that, and not follow the prescribed plan that the team has for them. I do think that Cam Ward is following what the team has told him to do. And if the team is telling him, hey, you should probably lose 10 pounds, it's probably because they believe it's going to help him performance-wise.
Yeah, and he's not some renegade that just goes off on his own and does whatever's best for him. He does whatever's best for the team. He's a team-first guy, and if he feels that losing this weight is going to help him be a more mobile quarterback, a more effective quarterback, you can guess who that benefits. It benefits the entire team.
Yeah.
It benefits the receivers. It benefits the offensive line. It benefits the running backs. It benefits everyone on that side of the ball, and even the defense too, because if the offense is effective, guess what? You take a load off of the defense. They don't have, I'm not saying they don't have to play as hard, but they don't have as much that they have to manage. So I think this is a good thing. This is a good development for the Titans.
Robert says, yes, we don't need another Jamarcus Russell.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, again, I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. We're really only talking about it because it's May 22nd and we're leading up towards training camp in a couple of months, but we'll see. Hopefully it's not a durability issue, but I understand what Matthew in Nashville is saying, but I do think that the team realized that he can unlock maybe a different aspect of his game by losing some weight, and it hopefully won't impact the durability concerns. 615-737-1025. Let's go to our phone lines. Dustin in Hopkinsville is called in. Dustin, thanks for calling. Good morning.
Good morning. And right off the rip, I expect all the hate for this. And I always thought Cam was a little chunky and had toothpick arms. And you know what? Jared Lorenzen, what was it? The hefty lefty?
Hefty lefty.
Don't matter if you produce, all right? And none of us want to hit Jared Lorenzen, RIP to him. However, he only lost 10 pounds, and it didn't look like he put on any muscle. And I always thought this, like, people put too much into everything. Like, he's the first one in the building. Okay. Did he hit the dang gym? No, obviously. All right. Not the way he needed to. He needed to do a little jogging, put on a little muscle so he is protected. And I always thought that about him. And what really made it worse is you went from the tight end at quarterback, Will Levis, and -2% body fat to, all right, a little fluffy fella back there, but he's a little smarter, you know. If he performs, it doesn't matter. But yes, if he only lost 10 pounds and he didn't put on any muscle, he just dieted. And Robert Saleh, I feel like, probably told him, get on a diet, and he's probably going to whip him up in the weight room a little bit. You know, I used to work out some. I don't have time anymore. And I had a little help. And the first thing I did was put on weight when I got to the weight room. I was turning fat into muscle. When you do that, muscle weighs more than fat. So that tells me a lot. The 10 pounds don't look like it's going to do him any favors other than running. Now, that's the big thing. If he can get away from these guys and they can't catch him and they can't hit him, good. But get in that weight room, dude. Like, be the first in the weight room. See ya.
Thanks for the call, Dustin. I don't know, just based on what we've seen, I don't know if you can tell whether he's put on muscle or not, right? Like, yeah. We don't have his body scans that I'm sure they all have in there of what his, percent body fat is.
And maybe he's in the process of putting on said muscle.
Yeah, I don't know. And it's one of those things, like, we can say he says he lost 10 pounds. We don't know what that looks like. And we'll just have to find out how it plays out when he actually gets onto the field. There's nothing, I'm not concerned about it. That's where the question started is, are you concerned about Cam Ward losing 10 pounds? I am not.
And look, we said he was chubby. We're not saying he's Jared Lorenzen, for example,
right?
Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers, like 2 months ago. No, we're not saying that. He was just a little bit of a bigger built quarterback.
Well,
and that's okay.
Being a good quarterback, you don't have to be ripped.
Right.
You can be, and it's fine. But, like,
we talked about this yesterday.
Was Tom Brady ripped he kind of transformed his body with
plastic surgery.
Yeah, some plastic surgery towards the end of his career. But, like, the first three Super Bowls of the Patriots,
he was
a pretty big dude. Like, it's whatever. This doesn't need to be.
It's overblown.
Yes, I agree. 615-737-1025. We see you on the phone lines. There's another text I wanted to get to about Cam Ward too. We will also look at the offensive line as we got our first look at what the starting five might look like in 2026. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Today, the Nashville Sounds take on the Durham Bulls. First pitch is set for 5:45. You can catch all of the action on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks Family Leisure and Social Cantina. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Locally brewed, community-driven, Tennessee Brewworks is the official craft beer of the football offseason coverage here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly with you on Next Man Up on this Friday. Going through Titans OTAs yesterday, and Carnell Tate stole the show. Had a big day in his first open practice in front of the media. People were buzzing about the 4th overall pick, which is a good thing. Still early. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. But Cam Ward also drew some headlines, as I think he will in every single open practice that there is leading up into the season. And Weston Hermitage, we went through Matthew and Nashville's question. Weston Hermitage said, "What I took away from practice was not the same as what everybody else took away. It seems to me like Cam Ward is still overthrowing wide open receivers. Is that going to be fixed, or is this just what we get with Cam?" And I don't know the answer to that question, right? But I'm not going to make a judgment based on one throw that was publicized in a May offseason practice, right? Like, yes, he struggled throwing the deep ball in his rookie season. And if he does it again in his second season, then I think we can start to say, all right, Cam Ward may have a deep ball accuracy problem. This is a big offseason. We went through Derek and David Carr's breakdown of kind of what went wrong on some of those deep throws. A lot of it was footwork based. And Derek Carr made the point of his arm talent is good enough to make some of those throws 7 out of 10 times, even with his feet not set. But if he gets them set and cleans up the footwork, he can make those throws 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 times. And so I think that's going to be a huge focus this offseason, is getting his footwork right, getting his base right. And who knows if he's going to fix it. There were some issues throwing the ball downfield as a rookie, but I'm also not going to say that this is just what Cam is based on one bad throw yesterday, when he did hit a deep ball to Carnell Tate yesterday as well.
And some of the Carnell Tate thing, from what I heard from TD, again, neither of us were there, unfortunately, but
right. It's during my show, which makes
that'll change this season. I'll be out there a lot. But it's worth noting from what I heard from TD that some miscommunication, I think it was between Alante Taylor and Marcus Harris.
Yeah.
They got caught up in some coverage issues, and it allowed Carnell Tate to just kind of break through and get through unscathed. So that's important to note. But I think you're right in you're taking a one play instance from a practice in late May, when the actual a voluntary practice, mind you. So some of the best players aren't out there. You're taking a one play instance from practice in May, when we got a long way to go before actual meaningful football is played. It's not on my list of worries right now. If it gets to a point where, it's consistent every practice and every game, and we see that problem, then yes, I'll start to worry about it. But right now, based on what I'm seeing from Cam Ward, what I've heard come out of practice, and the player I know he's capable of being, if he works on, like you said, cleaning some of these things up, I think he's going to be a good quarterback. And I never question really accuracy with him. I do a little bit. On some of the deep balls last season, it was a problem. But when he's working in the short and mid-range, you don't question the accuracy. It's a matter of, can he get consistent? And I think that's the point that Wes is making, is that that's kind of a concern he has right now based on what we saw last season and based what's coming out. It's a fair concern.
I 100% agree. And I get Wes text back in and says it's based on one full season plus one throw in May. And I totally get what he's saying, that is one of the concerns I have heading into year 2. But I'm not going to say he can't fix it or he hasn't fixed things because he made 1 or 2 overthrows in an OTA practice. I want to see how it develops heading into year 2. And, if training camp is, because training camp it's such a microscope. Like, I mean, everybody has their eyes on every single play in practice.
Yeah.
And if throughout training camp, we get into mid-August and it's like every practice he's missing 1 throw down the field, then that's a problem. But all I'm saying, Wes, and I totally understand your concern, is let's give him some time here this offseason. I know that we're all overreacting because it's the first practice that we've seen and we've gotten notes from, and
we won't get one till next Friday.
Right. So there's a lot of time to nitpick these things, and it could totally end up being an issue. That is my biggest concern from Cam Ward, is he was not able to consistently hit open receivers down the field. I'm going to be concerned about that heading into year 2, but I'm not going to overreact and be concerned just because he missed one yesterday. Let's see how it develops throughout the offseason program and into training camp.
And I think some of that is on the receiver's ability to adjust to the ball. And look, if you throw a ball 15 feet over the receiver's head, he's probably not going to catch it. But I don't think Cam Ward last season had the help that he needed in that aspect. Like Calvin Ridley was hurt. And even when Calvin Ridley was healthy, he had bricks for hands. Alec Iomanner and Jim DK proved that they are somewhat capable receivers, but they're rookies and they haven't really learned that aspect of the NFL yet. And now that I think you've brought in Carnell Tate, who again, rookie, we'll see, and Wan'Dale Robinson, who I think is capable of doing so, and you hope Calvin Ridley is healthy and capable of doing so, I think he's going to have a little bit more help. But to Wes's point and to your point, if he's throwing the ball 20 feet over the receiver's head, then you're probably not going to catch that anyway.
Yeah.
So,
no, I think it's concerning as a trend, but I also don't want to overreact. Just like I don't want to overreact about Carnell Tate having a great day, I don't want to overreact about Cam Ward missing a few throws in OTAs. Every quarterback is going to miss throws during the offseason. Like, it's just, you know.
It's isolated because we have tunnel vision.
Right.
That's all we see.
And I'll also make the point here that who are the 3 returning wide receivers that he had most of the season, some of the season last year? Alec Iomanner, Jim DK, Calvin Ridley. Who wasn't out there yesterday? Those 3. He's still building the chemistry with Carnell Tate and Wan'Dale Robinson and some of these new guys. So, again, I am concerned about the deep ball accuracy, but yesterday didn't make it any worse or any better for me, right? Like, just because he hit one in practice doesn't make me think he's fixed everything. Just because he missed one doesn't make me think the sky is falling.
Yeah.
It's May. We're gonna see how this all works.
I think
out.
I'm less concerned than you, but
yeah,
it is still on my radar. Well, hopefully it develops this summer, but I'm with you. At one play instance from yesterday, a practice in May with half of his receivers that he played with last season not out there does not change my opinion.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'd love to hear from you. Our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at 1025 The Game for live shows and exclusive content and chat with us there. Let's get into the offensive line quickly to wrap up hour number 1. We did get an okay look at who was going to be lining up first at center and right guard. I don't know if it was like every single rep, but we can talk about what that competition is going to look like as we head towards the summer. 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, next man up. 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly with you, finishing up the first hour on this Friday morning. Titans OTAs yesterday were open to the media, and we got a look at Cam Ward, got a look at Carnell Tate, also got to see some of the offensive line. And, the offensive line is one of, if not the biggest question mark heading into this season. Who's going to start at center? Who's going to start at right guard? I didn't see anything specifically saying, hey, Austin Slopeman is your starting center and, Cordell Volson is your starting right guard in these team drills. But it seemed like they were getting the first reps, which is not surprising at all.
Makes sense.
Those are the veteran guys. They've played in the NFL. They've started in the NFL before. I think they should be getting the first reps. But I thought it was important. Robert Saleh did say in his press conference, Jackson Slater is going to get every opportunity to win that right guard spot. I think the Titans would love for Slater to win the right guard spot, but they're obviously not going to put somebody out there who is worse just because they're younger and could be a long-term solution.
That's a good thing and a bad thing because it shows that they have faith in the young guy. They have faith that he can develop into something better than what they already have. But the good thing about that is if you do end up starting the veteran, the young guy still has room to grow. He still has time to develop. I mean, Slater hasn't seen starting snaps in the NFL, and he's only a second-year player. So he's got a while before he's, a finished product, I think we could say. Cordell Volson, he still can develop too, I think, a little bit, but we kind of know what he is. He's been a starter in Cincinnati. We've seen starting snaps from him on an NFL level. So it would make sense if they were to give him the starting role just because you know exactly what he is, and you feel safe about that. Same with Slopeman hasn't seen as much starting snaps as Volson has, but he's still a veteran. He still understands Brian Daboll's system. And, you think you know what he is at this point. Slater, I think he could possibly contend for that center spot too. I think it's more likely he's in that guard position.
Yeah, they said they'll work him in at center, but he's going to primarily work at guard.
Yeah, but the same could be said for the guy you just drafted in Pat Coogan. If you feel that he has earned the starting role, then that's good because he's a young guy. It's good and bad because he's a young guy and he's never started, which is great and also bad. But if you start Slopeman, you feel safe about that. It's a guy that you signed because he's a veteran and you feel like he is a finished product. So there's pros and cons to both sides of this. It would make sense to me if they go veteran just to start out the season. And then let's say someone gets hurt or they don't deliver the way they expected them to, then that's when I could see young guys getting involved.
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm pretty confident it's going to be Slopeman at center to start the year. And he's only started started 4 games last year. I think he has 18 starts in his career or something like that.
Yeah.
So he's played a little bit, hasn't played a ton, but he was just with Brian Daboll. He was just with Carmen Brasillo. Like, if they didn't trust him, I don't think he would have been somebody that they go out and sign. So I think he's going to get the start. Now, as Parker has said before, I wouldn't be shocked if Pat Coogan takes over that spot at some point.
Yeah.
But I do think it's going to be Slopeman's job at center to start the year. Slater and Volson, I think, is probably more of a toss-up. Like, Volson started nearly 50 games at the NFL level, didn't play all last year. And even when he was started, he was an average guy. Like, he's a guy that you can plug in. I don't think he's going to be the worst guard in the world, but he's also not going to move the needle all that much for you.
Yeah.
Slater has the higher upside, but he's never started in the NFL before. So you've got to weigh the experience against the potential. And that's going to be, I think center feels more cut and dry that Slopeman's going to be the starter heading into the year. I do think right guard is probably closer to 50-50 between Volson and Slater.
Yeah, and this is why we have question marks about this position group, because I don't feel like they addressed it in free agency to the level that a lot of people wanted them to, myself included, probably you included.
I would say I don't saying all of that about Slopeman starting at center and the competition at right guard. Don't feel good about either of those spots,
right.
But that's how I think it will play out throughout training camp.
I think if they were going to do something like go outside of what they already have, they would have already done it. And maybe they're waiting for this June 1st unofficial second free agency, whatever, see if someone big gets out there. But I don't think that's likely to happen. I feel like they would have addressed that in the first free agency period, if that were the case. But this is why we got questions about it. This is why we think, maybe this offensive line has taken a step back. I don't know how much better off they would be with Lloyd Cushenberry in that position, but it's also worth noting he hasn't been signed yet. So
yeah, I think on paper you look and say Cushenberry and Zeitler better than what you have now on paper. But, we're not in that room. We're not working with these guys every day. Maybe they see something in Sloatman who's never gotten a chance to be a starting center. Maybe they see something in Slater as a developmental prospect who can step in there. I don't know. That's all going to play itself out during training camp. I will say, I will continue to bang the drum on, swing tackle's an issue for me. Apparently, Austin Deculus was working in at left tackle.
Who?
He cannot be your swing tackle. I would like an upgrade at swing tackle beyond Austin Deculus, but
I don't know who Austin Deculus is.
He's their swing tackle. Him or Brandon Crenshaw Dixon. Those are your two options.
At least that's a name I've heard. Not that
he was here last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deculus, I think, was with the Browns. So
great. Oh, that's right. They got him off the waiver wire or something like that.
He was like a second wave free agent. They got like in late March or something like that. A couple other things from OTAs yesterday. Anthony Hill, pick 6 on Hendon Hooker yesterday.
Stock is trending up, man.
I like Anthony Hill. I think all of us, that was the most universally agreed upon pick that the Titans made on draft night was like, all right, well, yeah, Anthony Hill at 60. You feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
So Anthony Hill flashing early, made a play. They said it would have been a pick 6. He picked off Hendon Hooker. And then Micah Robinson. I saw one of TD's tweets. He put the little eye emoji next to Micah Robinson.
Yeah.
We were talking yesterday about the lack of depth at cornerback. He could be that wild card that maybe we're not talking about after they got him off waivers from Green Bay last year. He did make some plays. He was fine in a relief role in a secondary that was absolutely decimated. So I'm excited to see him in a slot that fits him more, not having to be asked to be a starting cornerback, but as one of those relief guys behind Taylor and Flott and maybe Marcus Harris in the nickel.
Yeah.
I do think that maybe he is a depth guy that could help that cornerback room that I am a little bit concerned about.
Let me tell you, and everyone that I've talked to that covers the Titans, TD included, they love Marcus Harris. Like they think he is a guy with major upside at that nickel.
That's what
position.
TD told us yesterday.
They love Marcus Harris from what I've been told. So, but in terms of the depth, I would love to see Micah Robinson develop because look, it's a low risk guy to have on your roster. You picked him up on the waiver wire last season and you're not paying him that much. So if he hits and you have some depth, you have him, Marcus Harris, who was the one that they picked up from Kansas City this
Joshua Williams.
Yeah, you have those 3. I feel all right about that. It's not an elite unit, but at least you have some pieces that you can consider depth. I would feel okay with that.
I think you need a 6th cornerback, right? And I understand that, it sounds like I'm nitpicking saying I'm worried about cornerback 6, but I just, the depth there is concerning. And maybe I've got a little PTSD after last year when there were guys that I did not know existed playing in week 17 and 18 at cornerback because of all the injuries. I think Taylor, Flott, Harris is fine as your starters at the outside corners in the nickel, but you're doing a lot of hoping if you think, Joshua Williams, who was fine with Kansas City as a depth piece, and Micah Robinson, and then I guess like Latrell McCutcheon, your undrafted free agent out of Houston, would probably be the next guy in that room. So I wouldn't hate adding a veteran. We went through the list of free agents out there yesterday, and there's nobody that great, but there are some veteran pieces that maybe you could bring in just as an insurance policy for some of those guys that you brought in this offseason.
How do you feel about Taylor outside? Because that's kind of been a topic of conversation.
Yeah.
He's always profiled as a nickel guy.
That's what TD said yesterday. He's like, I think he's a nickel, but they have been adamant that he's going to play outside for them. I say give him a chance outside, and if it doesn't work out, that he's going to be fine in the nickel. But
then you need an outside guy.
Yeah, and I guess it would what be Joshua Williams at that point would have to step in there. So that's why
Flott.
I'm a little bit. Well, Flott's going to start on the other side, and so cornerback, the depth there does concern me. But maybe if Micah Robinson is a guy that you feel like you can count on as a reserve player on the outside, I think that makes it feel a little bit deeper. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. The 615 Open Golf Tournament might be sold out, but you can bid on all kinds of awesome experiences. To directly support Folds of Honor at 615open.com/auction. Have an unforgettable time while supporting a great cause. 615open.com/auction. We will come back with our number 2, get into some college football and some college basketball topics. We'll get back into the NFL later on, and we'll have our Monday headlines coming up at 11:30. 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, next man up here on 1025 The Game. Second hour on this Friday. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly with you, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Lots of Titans talk in the first hour after OTAs yesterday. Let's talk some college football here to start off hour number 2, as the buzz continues to be about the 2014 playoff. The Big Ten had their league meetings this week. The SEC has theirs down in Destin next week. And the conversation is mostly going to center around, will the college football playoff expand to 24 teams? And we've had this debate, I think all of us in agreement. No, please don't go to 24 teams. At least not yet. You've only done 2 years at 12. You don't need to go to 24 yet. But let's put that to the side right now. Let's say the SEC caves and goes to 24. Our local teams here, Vanderbilt and Tennessee, should those teams change their expectations for this year based on that? Do you think Vanderbilt and Tennessee could be or should be playoff teams if the playoff was expanded to 24?
Yes, both for different reasons. Vanderbilt, for example, I think they have elevated the standard of their program on a yearly basis. You win 10 games, continue to show momentum year in and year out, your standard is elevated. Your bar has been raised. And with a 24-team playoff, you have to win probably a minimum of 8 games to be considered, probably 9. That's fair expectations. And I understand the SEC is a tough conference to play in, and they're going to have a tough schedule. But if they evolve and go to 24 teams, that should be the expectation. Internally, that should be the fan expectation. Externally, that should be player expectation. That should be media expectation. Because I feel they haven't taken a step back. They're not going anywhere. Their recruiting has looked good. They've brought back a lot of talent. You've got a true freshman quarterback, I understand, but he is the number 1 quarterback in the nation in terms of his recruiting class. So for Vanderbilt, yes, the expectation should be to get in. For Tennessee, the expectation should be to get in, but they're going the opposite direction as Vanderbilt, I feel like. They're trending backwards. So I'm not saying that, they're going to lose, 8 games. That's not happening, but they are a team and a program that consistently wins 7 to 8 games every year. That should be enough. If you win the right games and maybe exceed expectations a little bit media-wise, that should be enough to get you in. And I think internally, inside that program, Josh Heupel should want to get in. And, I think that's why you see a lot of coaches kind of vying for the 24-team playoff, because job security comes into play there.
I made the playoff last year.
It goes on a resume. Josh Heupel was one of those. But that lowers the seat a little bit for him. That cools it off. And I'm not saying his seat is scorching hot by any means. I think he's fine right now. But if they miss the playoffs this year again, with the kind of talent that they're capable of bringing in, the kind of program that I know they want to be, those Vols fans are crazy. They'll start rioting. They'll start not rioting, but they'll take to the interwebs and they'll call out the coach. And Danny White's kind of a dummy, but that seat's going to start to heat up. So for a different reason than Vanderbilt, I think the expectation for Vols fans should be that this team should get into a 24-team college football playoff. Because if you don't, that's probably bad news for your program. You're trending in a bad direction.
I would say if it stays at 12, both programs probably shouldn't expect to get in.
I agree.
And I say that mostly because of the quarterback situation. I think Faison Brandon and Jared Curtis are both going to be very good college football quarterbacks, but there's a learning curve. We went through this earlier this week of just like, it's going to take a little time. We looked at Bryce Underwood last year. Yeah, Michigan went 9-4, and they would have gotten into a 24-team playoff. So it's not impossible, but it's not like Bryce Underwood was lighting the world on fire despite being the number 1 quarterback in his class. It takes time to adjust to the different level of competition that you're going to be playing. So in a 12-team playoff, I would say neither Tennessee, even if it's George McIntyre or Faison Brandon, or for Vanderbilt, whether it's Blaise Berlowitz or Jared Curtis, I would say the expectation shouldn't be to make a 12-team playoff this year. But 24 is a big, big number.
Yeah.
Basically, the whole top 25 gets into the playoff. I think both these teams have the ability to be top 25 teams at the end of the year. I'm looking at preseason rankings. ESPN had Tennessee as the 24th best team in the country. So they would be in, just
Last
barely.
team in. Yeah.
Vanderbilt was not in there. They did not have a votes received part of this. It was just kind of like a way too early rankings.
Yeah.
CBS Sports did do a poll a couple of days ago. They have Tennessee as number 17 in the country, so comfortably into a 2014 playoff. Vanderbilt at number 31. So they would be on the outside looking in, but still around that conversation to be in a 2014 playoff. So although I don't think it's like for either team, I would say if it goes to 24, I wouldn't say it's playoff or bust. But I do think both of them should be in and around that conversation for the 2014 playoff if that's where this ends up going.
Yeah, I don't think it's an unfair expectation given that you just read those rankings. Vandy at 31 is a little surprising to me, but these are preseason rankings. You have to play your way into the playoff, to quote Corey Curtis. So I think if they go to 24, a lot of it's going to be how many SEC Big Ten teams can we squeeze into this playoff for money's sake? And, like the ranking is going to play a factor into it as well. But Vanderbilt has proven that they can be a top 25 team. They were in that conversation all of last year. Tennessee has proven that they can be a top 25 team. They were in that conversation all of last year until the very end when the wheels kind of fell off. So, but these are two different teams than they were last year. There's no more Pavia. There's no more Joey Aguilar.
Yep.
You've lost some key pieces on both sides of the ball if you're both teams. But I still think that Vanderbilt as a program is trending in a more positive direction than Tennessee is right now. That's not to say Tennessee's not going to be a good team. I think they're going to be a pretty good team this year. I think Vanderbilt's going to be a pretty good team this year. And I don't think it's unfair to expect maybe a step back in terms of record for Vanderbilt, just because 10-2 is so hard to replicate on a yearly basis.
They've never done it before.
They had never done it before.
And I think it shows you the momentum that they've been able to carry over from that, the recruiting trail. They've gotten some big time recruits. Jared Curtis, the most important one, of course.
Of course.
But there is momentum at Vanderbilt to keep this going. But progress isn't always linear, right? Like just because you're 10-2, if you take a step back to 8-4 doesn't mean that the program took a step back. It's just year over year, rosters change. You have a young quarterback or an inexperienced quarterback if Jared Curtis isn't to start. Blaise Berlowitz hasn't played a ton. So progress isn't going to be linear. Just because Vanderbilt doesn't go 11-1 this year doesn't mean that the program is dipping. They're going to have to take a little bit of a step back, most likely, in order to build up this roster back to being a playoff contender. I will say in this college football playoff ranking, guess how many Big Ten and SEC teams get in, just based on this ranking from CBS Sports?
Combined?
Each. You can say each.
Okay.
But combined, too. It's a big number.
12.
But combined?
Yeah.
Bigger.
Wow, really?
Yep, way bigger.
18.
17.
Wow.
8 Big Ten teams, 9 SEC teams. And again, this is a preseason ranking just going through what they have in the top 24. But it would be 8 Big Ten teams, 9 SEC teams, including Missouri getting in as the 21st ranked team. The ACC would get Miami.
Clemson
is out. Clemson would be 26th in this, actually.
Miami, Florida State.
Miami and Louisville are the only two that and SMU. Sorry, SMU too. So the ACC would get 3. The Big 12 would get Texas Tech, BYU, and Utah. So three each for them. So that leaves you at 23, and then Notre Dame would get the 24th spot. So based on this preseason ranking, it would be 9 SEC teams, 8 Big Ten teams, 3 of each from the Big 12 and the ACC, and then Notre Dame.
No group of 5 representative, huh?
No group of 5. Let me see if I can find the top group of 5 team based on what they have here. They have Tulane at 67th, James Madison at 71st, North Texas at 79th. Those were the 3 teams that were ranked at the end of the college football playoff.
Yippee!
Last year.
24 teams. Gonna be great.
It's way too much. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We will get to your phones coming up next. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Talking some college football playoff. Also a college football headline yesterday that I thought was hilarious from Steve Sarkisian. We'll also get into some college basketball later this hour as well. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Tune in for the Indy 500 race on 102.5 The Game this Sunday. Coverage begins at 10 a.m. and is brought to you by Twin Peaks, home of the 29-degree beer, and the Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, talking some college football here in the second hour. 2014 playoff continuing to be talked about. Seems like everyone's on board with the SEC, and SEC league meetings coming up next week. We'll have to see if they cave or if they hold strong and we stick with a 12-team playoff for a third straight year. Let's go to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Dr. Locke is called in. Dr. Locke, thanks for calling. Good morning.
What's up, fellas? How you doing this morning?
We're doing great. How are you, Dr. Locke?
Oh, I'm doing well. I want to speak as far as the Big Ten. I want to put us on record. We 100% support a 2014. In fact, the reason we support a 2014 is we want to go immediately on the record. We want the entire SEC conference to be in. So that's 16 teams. right? So now you got 16 from 24, and we only need 3. Of course, the boys from Columbus is going to handle business right off the jump at Texas, and it's going to be a long season for anybody who plays us. I'm just saying, I am. And give me Dante Moore and the boys. Right, we're gonna like the 300, right? Give me like we're walking into the like we're warriors in the movie 300. We're walking in. Give me Dante Moore and the boys from Eugene, right? And give me the Signettis. They're scrappy. They're down a quarterback, but Signetti will get them going. Give me Oregon, and so that takes us to what, 19? That's all we need. And then you could toss the ACC champion, the Big 12. Hell, let Notre Dame in and put a little independent for a little cherry on top, and we'll wax that ass.
The team up north conveniently left out of your college football playoff, Dr. Locke.
Oh, we don't care anything about the whole state of Michigan. We're from Ohio, OH.
I-O.
And we don't need Penn State. We don't need those boy lovers either.
All right. Thanks for the call,
Okay.
Dr. Locke.
Okay. All right.
Just took it one step
Hey, he was a
too
little
far.
fired up this morning.
So I will say Penn State, according to CBS Sports, 18th is where they have them in this preseason ranking. I'm not so sure about that.
I mean,
They got Rocco.
they're essentially Iowa State from last year.
Yeah, and Virginia Tech is Penn State from last year. They've
Let's
got
get grunky.
I will say, I picked Bill's brain at your wedding about
Bill
Virginia
Roth?
Tech.
Yeah.
He seems very high on the Hokies this year.
Yeah, I was talking to him too. He has been around James Franklin, and apparently he's a fan. So yeah.
I realize that's his job to be high on Virginia Tech football, but he had some interesting takes. He's like, this is the best throwing quarterback room I've seen in the last 30 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
Grunkemeyer is going to be the starter, and he was fine with Penn State after Drew Aller got hurt. The CBS Sports Rankings has Virginia Tech as 37th in the country, one spot ahead of the Hoos at 38th. Virginia Tech, according to CBS Sports and 247, the best 3-9 team in the country from last year. So get ready.
He
The
said,
Hokies
suck
are
it, Kentucky.
coming.
You're
They've got Kentucky 58th, who was 5-7 last year. So
that's
there
right.
you go.
yeah.
The next 3-9 team that you can find after Virginia Tech is UCLA at 49th.
Last season seems like such a distant
Yeah,
past.
yeah, it's been a while. But yeah, I'm kind of high on the Hokies this year. I don't think they'd get in even in a 2014 playoff, but I think they will be a
6-6.
I think they'll be a 7-win team next year.
Okay.
That's
That's how I feel
not
about
that
Kentucky.
tough. It's not that tough. They got Miami, they got Clemson, but outside of that, it's not too bad.
That's the ACC slogan. Our
Yeah.
schedule's not that tough.
Our schedule is not that bad. TM, the ACC. It just means more,
but not as much as the SEC.
Let's go to our phone lines again. Danny is called in. Danny, thanks for calling. What you got for us?
Hey, how's it going? My question about the 24 expansion to the 24 team, how does that look as far as the regular season or just like the schedule of the games? Like, are they taking away games? Is it still going to be 10? They're just going to push the college football playoffs to the right, and it's going to be, late in February, or how is that working?
So
That's all I'm asking.
I believe the only thing that's being eliminated would be the conference championship games. So conference championship weekend would start the playoffs and they would go on through and it would end around the same time. But in terms of playing the games, there would be no impact on anything in the regular season. But I think you could argue that some of those games down the stretch would mean less because so many teams are getting in.
Makes sense. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Danny. And I'm fully on board, as we talked about with Corey Curtis. I am fully on board with getting rid of conference championship games.
I am. If
You won't hear me
expand.
crying.
I mean, I think the people that would cry the most are the actual conferences, especially the SEC and the Big Ten.
Well, right. That's
because
what
that's where
Petiti said.
Yeah, I mean the viewers. I mean, you're going to get a lot of viewers for Alabama and Georgia on a yearly, or Alabama, LSU, or Georgia, and you name it. Same with the Big Ten. I mean, there are teams that aren't going to get as much eyes as others. Like, I would imagine Ohio State, Michigan is probably going to get a lot more viewers than Minnesota and Nebraska.
Yeah. And it's, I understand that the conferences can't just like get rid of the conference championship games, right? Like they make a lot of money off those. It's a standalone game to show off their conference, and it has to make financial sense. But like, remember the 3 years ago, the Final Four team playoff, Georgia went undefeated all year and lost to Alabama in the SEC championship game and got left out.
Yep.
It's like every game meant so much. Last year, Georgia, Alabama squaring off in the conference championship game did not matter at all.
Well, some of it is there's no fine line of what conference game matters. Like you mentioned, Alabama gets waxed by Georgia, still gets in the college football playoff,
Right?
Because they said the conference championship doesn't matter as much. But then you go to the ACC where Virginia had 2 losses. They lose to Duke, and they're left out because they lose a conference championship game.
Thank God for that.
Well, I'm sure you're a little bit biased there. There's no fine line on what matters and what doesn't. And that's the problem. It's the inconsistencies of the NCAA.
No, it's the college football playoff. They've got things to figure out. But I also think I would prefer 12 over 24 right now. Now, eventually, if 10 years down the road you want to go to 24, maybe. But I don't get
Jake. I'm not letting you go down this route.
I just don't get why we're so quick to move on from something. Like we just tripled the playoff 2 years ago. Why are we trying to double it again?
I don't think it should move at all, but it will because money.
Yeah. I think 8 would have been great.
I would love
just 6 or 8 would have been like the perfect
8
number.
would have been perfect, but you skip past 8. Fine. You're at 12. Don't skip past 16 to go to 24. Like 16 is a common sense number.
Don't move anything. But they're going to.
I know.
It's like basketball where we all said, don't do it. Don't move anything. Everyone in the nation said this.
But
I don't listen to the fans,
right.
Connor.
I know
this.
I know this.
I continue to say it of like, we can complain all we want, but what the NCAA and all of these conferences know is we can complain. We're still going to be sitting there watching.
Yep.
And that's what they can take advantage of.
What gives me hope, though, is Batiti said that it's either 24 or 12. They're not moving.
Fine.
Sankey wants 16
Yeah.
or 12. So
stay
at
12.
least the common ground is 12.
Yeah.
Don't move.
Right.
And the ACC, what they think doesn't matter. What Notre Dame thinks doesn't matter. What Big 12 thinks does not matter.
Conference USA matters to me.
All that matters is
Yeah.
what the SEC and the Big 10 think because they control the format. That's the truth. Like,
Yeah, it is. No, you're right.
Have you seen the text line?
Yeah, I'm not going to acknowledge that.
4312 says, man, what a time to be alive. Louisville is better in every sport over Kentucky.
Yeah, they split in baseball, pal. So let's get some back. How about volleyball? How'd that go? Because I'm pretty sure Kentucky made the Final Four.
You're really grasping at straws here.
I mean, you said every
No,
sport.
every sport. Yeah, no, it's fair. He did say every sport.
You said every sport.
3120 says, if the CFP moves to 24 teams, will the higher seeded schools push to host the first and second round games, or will they be on a neutral field? Also, will this ultimately have an impact on bowl games? So first part, yes, I would think the first 2 rounds would be at campus sites, right? And then you go quarterfinals would be the same, semifinals, those would be your New Year's Six bowls, and then your national championship on a neutral site somewhere. But yes, I think the round of 24 and the round of 16 would both be at campus sites.
Yeah.
In terms of impact on bowl games would probably be
It'd be so irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
it'd be like the NIT. Like you can
not
opt in.
not even the NIT.
Yeah.
Like it would be an opportunity for some of these, group of 5 schools to go out and play one more game and get an extra month of practice. But I really don't know how many Power 4 schools would want to play bowl games when the whole top 25 is getting into the playoff.
I wonder how many of those sponsors would jump off of the bowl game and try to get in on the playoff game. Like you're watching the first round of the college football playoff presented by Xbox.
Right. Yeah. Like this is the 9 versus 24 matchup brought to you by Tony the Tiger.
Yeah.
They're great.
The artist formerly known
As the Sun Bowl. 615-737-1025. Next week going to be a big week. And I think we'll learn a lot more about whether the playoff will expand this year or if we wait till 2027. It's coming at some point, but I do hope that we don't move to 24 this season. 615-737-1025. There was another college football headline I wanted to talk about. We'll do that coming up next. We'll also get into some college basketball stuff. And Tyler Tanner, he's got just a few more days to decide if he is going to come back to Vanderbilt. Should he? And what does that do for Vanderbilt heading in to the new year? Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly with you on your Friday morning. Next man up, 102.5 The Game.
This is the acceptable Taylor Swift. We appreciate this stuff.
Which will be sang at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, is she going to open with this at the Super Bowl?
Here's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to go with the old guard and transition into the new guard of country.
Yeah, see, like that was our idea too, was like do a mashup or a showcase.
Like how they did in LA a couple years ago.
Of like do maybe lead with some 90s country star, like have Garth and Brooks and Dunn come out to start, and then at the end bring out like Luke Combs and Morgan Wallen or like Lainey Wilson or something like that.
It'd be so good.
I think that would be fun. But if Taylor wants to do it, Taylor's going to do it.
It's a matter of who will do it for free because they don't pay the artist.
They don't?
The NFL doesn't. I'm sure they get endorsement deals and stuff. And Apple
the NFL
probably
doesn't pay them.
But the NFL directly does not pay for the Super Bowl.
Interesting.
Halftime show.
I didn't know that. I thought maybe it's like because like Apple Music sponsors it every year. Maybe they're paying a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's also, I mean, I'm sure it's good for their sales. Like people go and download their music right after that.
Yeah.
But if Taylor Swift was to do the Super Bowl halftime show, like she's got so many different eras. I think you can eliminate like the era where it was all like soft stuff. Like she's not playing that at the
She's
Super
not
Bowl.
playing All Too Well.
But like, yeah, like the 10-minute version, and that's just it. But I think you'll get some of her new stuff, some of like the middle stuff, like Shake It Off, like that kind of era, and then some of the old stuff. Like
the old stuff's good. I like the old stuff.
See,
even like the beginning of her pop era is fine.
Right.
Like Trouble, 22,
yeah, Style.
That whole Red album,
yeah,
whatever, that's a good album.
Those are like
because I remember we grew up with that.
I'm not a Swiftie.
No, I'm not either.
By any means, but I do enjoy some of her music. Some of the new stuff I'm not a huge fan of, but like, you know, if she did that, I would totally get if she did the Super Bowl.
Is your wife a huge Swiftie?
So she was when we were growing up, she was a massive Taylor Swift fan. But you know, she's kind of lukewarm on it now.
Okay.
But the old stuff, yes.
She's maturing. That's good.
She had like a vinyl of her first album, like the self-named Taylor Swift album.
Oh, from like 2000.
Yeah, with like with like, you know, Teardrops on My Guitar and stuff like that. Like and so she can like name every song on that album in order and like can sing it like all the way through. But like the new stuff, Folklore, whatever, all those ones, I don't think she's as big into it.
Yeah.
Anyway, talking college football here, there was a headline yesterday that I had to make sure it wasn't like The Onion or like just a spam account or a burner. Steve Sarkisian calling out Texas Tech, not by name, but going, there is a team in our state that if we sent out our second and third stringers and played their schedule, we could go undefeated, and they're going to be in the college football playoff.
Rice.
Man.
Right.
Yeah.
Sam Houston
That's
State.
what I saw. I think it was Matt Brown on Twitter said, I'm just going to pretend that Steve Sarkisian is talking about Texas Rio Grande Valley. And it's like
Texas A&M, Corpus Christi.
He's talking about Texas Tech, and I get the Big 12 is not the Big 10 or the SEC. They're not. But that is a ridiculous statement to say that you could send your 2s and 3s out and go undefeated in their schedule.
I mean, isn't that kind of contradictory since he lost? I realize the Big 10 is not the Big 12 either, but you sent your 1s out last season and lost to Ohio State.
Right. Now, Texas is going to be loaded this year.
Yeah.
I am really excited about Texas Ohio State this season because, you know, last year it was Arch Manning getting his feet wet in his first game. Same thing with Julian Sayin. And, you know, it was more of a defensive struggle. And I'm sure the defenses are going to be good again this year, but like Ohio State lost a ton of pieces from that defense last season. And they're going to reload. Texas is loaded this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to watch Arch Manning and Cam Coleman, Julian Sayin and Jeremiah Smith in week 2 out there in Austin. Sign me up just for
prime time.
Not a big noon kickoff. Thank God. And it's not the quarterbacks as much. Like, I'm not a huge Sayin guy. I'm not a huge Manning guy, but Cam Coleman and Jeremiah Smith,
legit.
Both those guys could end up being top 5 picks next year.
Yeah. I mean, you know, Jeremiah Smith.
Well, yeah, Jeremiah Smith is going to be, but I really like Cam Coleman.
He's really good. I think he was the Lamborghini in the, what is it? The
Lamborghini in the shack.
And the shack last year for Auburn. Him and Keldrick Folk, those were the two.
Yeah.
Which Titans fans
And
rejoice.
Deuce Knight,
who is no longer there. He's
at Ole Miss.
trapped at Ole Miss
Yeah.
because he thought he was going to be the starter, and then they get
came
Trinidad.
back. Yeah. Same thing with Dylan Raiola. It's like, man, those guys, both 5 stars, were like, oh, I'm going to go somewhere else and start. And
Rayola's was intentional. I don't think Deuce Knight's was.
I-
I'm positive.
I think-
I know that for a fact.
You're
I know that for a fact.
You're 100%
Because
positive.
Dante Moore did the same thing when Dylan Gabriel was there. I know for a fact.
I understand that, but I think that might have been Dylan Raiola after Dante Moore decided to come back saying, oh, I totally knew that this was a scenario and I'm okay with it. But I really doubt that he said, I'm transferring there thinking Dante Moore was going to come back.
Yeah, I can't subscribe to that idea. I think maybe he's accepted the idea that he's going to be in a backup role this season because he doesn't really have any other option. But he'll be the starter next year for sure. Deuce Knight, if he stays at Ole Miss, will probably be the starter next year. I have a feeling he's going to hit the portal, but I don't know. Portal's pretty unpredictable. But in terms of Steve Sarkisian's comments, why is he making this? Like,
I don't know. He's picking fights left and right because he said the whole basket weaving thing about Ole Miss, and now going after Texas Tech. Steve Sarkisian
They're
better
out for blood this year, man.
He better
They're out for
hope
blood.
his team backs him up on the field this year because it's going to be funny if he doesn't.
But they don't even play Texas Tech this year.
No, of course not.
Why would they?
Did they play Ole Miss this year?
I think so. They didn't play last year, but it's the start of the 9-game conference schedule.
It's different. Let's see. Oh, they do play Ole Miss.
Yeah,
October 24th. So, that'll be an
Get
interesting
your
one.
popcorn ready.
So look,
September 19th, and that what you said October 18th,
October 24th.
October 24th.
Yeah, Ole Miss is going to have a nice little revenge tour going on here. For Texas this year, let's look at their schedule. So Ohio State at home, going to be a tough one. They have to go to Tennessee. Of course, Cotton Bowl against Oklahoma. They'll beat Florida. Ole Miss at home. Mississippi State at home. That's a win. Missouri at LSU.
Also
at Texas A&M to end the year. So they've got, I think they've got 9 solid wins on the schedule. And then you've got 3 games that are like toss-ups that you got to win at least one of them to get in. You probably got to win 2 to feel good.
Why is he talking this much though? Like,
I know.
There's no need for this.
Especially after last year when Texas, there was so much hype going into last year.
And he wasn't talking like this, but he was still talking.
And they were the number 1 team in the country preseason last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you end up going 9-3 and missing the playoff. Like, I would keep my mouth shut if I was Steve Sarkisian and just go out and let my, loaded team go and do the talking for me. But he's talking. And if you get upset by Ole Miss,
we're going to laugh.
There's going to be a lot of basket weaving memes that are made.
We're going to laugh, and it's going to be funny. I'm going to laugh if he loses to Ohio State, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be a fun game. This is the early part of this season is going to be really, really fun.
I mean, the first 3 weeks, we already know where game day is going.
Right. Well, you've got the primetime games for the first 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
LSU, Clemson,
yep.
Texas, Ohio State, and Ole Miss, LSU.
Oh, my. I cannot wait for that week 3 game. I hear all the Vols saying, well, it's not going to compare to our 2021 game in Neyland. It's going to be better.
The hatred is fresh.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say like Kiffin leaving Ole Miss was worse than Kiffin leaving Tennessee.
Yes, because it was dragged out.
Well, right. And Lane was there for so much longer at Ole Miss too. Like he had built that program up back to being a contender and then and
he was adamant that he would not leave.
Right. I think the hatred is worse and it's fresher. That is going to be a nightmare for him.
It's going to be if they win that game, if Ole Miss wins that game at home, they are going to have a parade in the streets of Oxford.
Ole Miss fans better mute Lane and Juice Kiffin on Twitter.
It's going to look like Philadelphia when the Eagles win any football game ever.
They better grease the light poles. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's give something away here. We've got 2 more tickets to the Sports Illustrated Resorts 250 at Nashville Superspeedway next Saturday, May 30th. Be quick. Caller number 2 will win 2 tickets. Again, the Sports Illustrated Resorts 250 next Saturday, May 30th at Nashville Superspeedway. 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, next man up. 1025 the game.
Oh, yeah.
Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly with you. Finishing up the second hour here on this Friday. We were just talking about Steve Sarkisian. And speaking of some of the worst people in sports, Will Wade.
What a segue. There you go, Mickey. Way to go.
Will Wade trying to bring back pro players. And I wanted to spend a couple seconds on this of why can't coaches agree that it is better for the sport to not go down this road? It is only going to hurt the product of college basketball and make things more convoluted and complicated and take away opportunities from high schoolers, current college players, if you're going into the G League and trying to sign two-way players. It needs to stop. Will Wade signed 2 this past week.
Yeah, RJ Lewis.
RJ Lewis, and then there was another one that I saw.
Some like
The Nyan guy from the Cavs.
Yeah. So it's ridiculous. You can build a great team in the transfer portal and in high school. You can build a great team. Michigan didn't have to go get pro players to roll to a national championship last year. Stop it. I am imploring college coaches, Nate Oates, RJ Lewis, Scott Drew, stop it. Stop trying to sign pro players.
Well, the NCAA is at fault for this too, for not putting their foot down on it.
Well, they
allowed this.
Well,
they allowed the first one, and now it allowed a ripple effect.
College players have realized that if they just take it to court, they have an opportunity.
Yep.
Right? That's what happened with Charles Bediako. He got to play a couple of games. I think the NCAA should force them to vacate wins. I mean, and I know they didn't end up really winning anything this year, but like, you played an ineligible player. That used to mean something.
Yep.
It used to mean something in the NCAA.
I think I saw yesterday the average age of LSU's roster is 23. And there are some NBA teams that have the same average age roster.
Will Wade just sucks. Like that's
LSU. I've been telling you this for months.
He's
LSU
a dirty, you know what?
I've been telling you this for months. LSU is the most unlikable athletic department in the country.
Well, and I think they embrace that, right?
Yep.
Like you've got Kiffin, who, I mean, if you had to name in football, men's basketball, and women's basketball, the 3 most unlikable coaches out there, are they all in Baton Rouge?
I mean, Will Wade's, I wouldn't know. I don't know if he's at the top of the list, but a lot of that is personal.
Yeah,
bias.
I mean, that's true. You hate Calipari.
Yeah, I don't like Calipari. I don't like
I don't know what's UCLA's guy.
Mick Cronin.
Mick Cronin. I don't like Mick Cronin
No,
either.
no one
Did you
likes
just
Mick
raise your
Cronin.
voice at me?
Yeah.
There's cameras.
God, he's
dude.
ridiculous. There's a
Dan
lot.
Hurley is probably the number 1 in basketball.
See,
I would say.
But Dan Hurley does it in an endearing way, at least. Like, I don't think like Dan Hurley is animated on the sideline and he's going to be a little over the top to referees and all that kind of stuff. And a little bit of a jerk, but I kind of like him. Like Dan Hurley has a little bit of a charisma to him.
Yeah.
Will Wade and Mick Cronin just suck.
Yeah.
Like, and Will Wade is specifically, I'm just like he got kicked out of college basketball because of the scandal, the paying players, all that kind of stuff with the FBI. And, went back to McNeese State, built himself back up and went to NC State. And I could at least respect the work to get to NC State. But then, the press conference of like, this is going to be the worst team that we have here at NC State. I'm fully on board to get this thing turned around, and then leaving for LSU again a week later, and then doing this stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, God, it's annoying.
Well, even you mentioned the 3: Kiffin, Mulkey, Wade.
Yeah.
Jay Johnson sucks too. In baseball.
Yeah. Well, like Jay Johnson, yes.
At least he wins.
But Jay Johnson, it's less in your face. Like, yeah, there's the same kind of ego and, the dominating the transfer portal, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That annoys people. But it's less in your face than Mulkey, who has all the sequin coats and, Lane Kiffin all over Twitter and, all the antics that he comes up with throughout the year. And then Will Wade with all this stuff. I get it. Baton Rouge, LSU, they are making themselves out to be the villain, and they like being the villain. But stop with this stuff. Like,
it's
just
bad.
You play within the rules. These guys were drafted in the NBA. These guys have signed NBA contracts. Stop letting them come back and play for your team. Have a little bit of respect for the game.
Well, there is no respect for the game because there's not a rule on it. The NCAA clearly won't put their foot down.
There is a rule on it. But these players and coaches and schools have realized if we just sue, we have an opportunity. So we're going to just bring them in and see if we get a favorable judge. Like, the NCAA does say that you're not allowed to play college basketball. Like, your eligibility is...
Then they need to put their foot down. They need to start, forfeiting games. They need to start putting restrictions on them recruiting-wise.
And that is the one thing. Like, the NCAA, I think, they have stopped becoming the big bad wolf, like, right? Like they used to be like, oh, everybody's scared of the sanctions from the NCAA.
And vacating wins doesn't do anything. Like if we're being honest, especially when you don't have many.
Right.
But what the NCAA tournament can do is say, okay, if every game that you play these guys counts as a loss on your resume.
Yeah.
That's what they can do.
That's true. Yeah, they could have gone back and retroactively called it a forfeit for Alabama, the games that Bediako played in.
Which they should have.
It's just, and I get what Parker's saying. It's like the vacating wins and stuff. It's not real. Like Louisville winning that national championship. I'm sorry for bringing this up.
No, it doesn't count.
But like winning the national championship, you can say that they vacated that title and like it doesn't count. But for all of the players and coaches and fans who experienced it, it counts. Like they live that moment. No one can go back and take that moment away from you. So I agree with what Parker's saying. It's like, yeah, like vacating, sure, in the long run, you look back and you can't claim that title anymore. But if you ask Louisville fans of like, hey, would you rather have lost the national championship or won it and have to vacate it 10 years later? 100% they're saying win it because in the moment, no one's thinking about it being vacated.
Yeah. Way to bring up some old wounds.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Kentucky won the year before. So that was an emotional roller coaster of a year.
Well, that's like that was like me with Virginia losing to UMBC.
Yeah.
And then a year later they win the national championship.
This is why I fear I've peaked in sports fandom because 2011 to 2012, St. Louis Cardinals won the World Series in 2011. Kentucky basketball won in 2012. And then or I guess it was the 11-12 season. And then there was something else that happened. That was when Derrick Rose got hurt. So it was an emotional roller coaster of a year. But this is why I fear that I've peaked and I'll never experience happiness ever again.
I really, really, really hope I haven't peaked as a sports fan. Because if I have, I don't know how much worse it can get. God, the Detroit Tigers are awful right now, by the way.
They're all hurt.
Well, they're hurt, and the players who aren't hurt suck. Like, it's...
Join the tarps off movement. You're welcome.
Well,
to
they
come
did.
Aboard.
The Tigers tried that the other night, and it didn't work. No, they just got swept by the Guardians. They've now lost, I want to say, 14 of 16.
Ooh.
So,
who's in the lead in the West then, or the Central?
Cleveland. It's going to be a rough rest of the season. Anyway, 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We've got one more hour with you on this Friday morning. We're going to talk Tyler Tanner coming up next, staying with college basketball. Decisions are starting to come down from top NBA prospects or players in college who have, declared for the draft, but maintain their college eligibility. Tyler Tanner has until Wednesday to make his choice. Will he be back? And what could that do for Vanderbilt's prospects during the 2026-27 season? 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Final hour on this Friday morning. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Fun show so far. Getting ready for the holiday weekend, and it is a big week coming up for Vanderbilt basketball. On Wednesday, Tyler Tanner and all other NBA draftees have to make their decision, at least before Wednesday, have to choose whether they're going to stay in the NBA draft or return to college. And we saw yesterday, Ruben Chenyolu of Florida decided that he is going to go back to school. Before we get into the Tanner of it all, the Gators are going to be absolutely loaded.
They're going to be good.
They're bringing back Condon's back.
Flan.
Boogie Flan's back. Chenyolu. Thomas Howe is back too. So basically they're bringing back that whole team that, yes, was disappointing last year considering they won the national championship, but a 1 seed last year nonetheless, even though they lost to Iowa in the round of 32. That's going to be a dangerous team for Todd Golden in the 2026-27 season. But all eyes around here in this situation are on Tyler Tanner. For Vanderbilt, he is going to be the major cog in Mark Byington's team. Now, they've brought in a lot of talent in the transfer portal. You've got Chandler Bing back for another year. Jaden Leverett's back for another year. But Tyler Tanner, he's the straw that stirs the drink. All-American honorable mention this past year. And you mentioned, just as we were about to get into this, that Jeff Goodman tweeted out this morning. He talked to 10 NBA executives and got their take on what all of the guys who are kind of on the fence should do. All 10 NBA execs said Tyler Tanner should go back to college.
Yep.
So you would think Tyler Tanner, he went through the draft process, went through the NBA draft combine, and he's getting the opinions of these executives and these scouts of what he should do. I think that's a pretty good indication that he may be coming back to Vanderbilt.
And real quick, for my Kentucky people that I know are listening, Malachi Moreno, 9 of them said he should go back to college. One of them said the NBA. And Milan Momcilovic, the guy out of Iowa State that a lot of people are thinking is going to go to Kentucky, all 10 said he should return to college.
There you go.
There's that. But as far as Tyler Tanner, I would absolutely advise him to go back to college. I think he's a good player, and he fits exactly what Vanderbilt is going to try to do. And as an NBA player, I think he could be successful. His size is kind of what hinders him. He's a very small guard, and I think he needs to work on ball control. I think he needs to work on some outside shooting. But I think if he were to come back to Vanderbilt, I think he can develop that. It's kind of like, here, I'll use another Kentucky analogy. It's kind of like Owe last year. Owe was profiled as a borderline second-round pick right at the end of the first, and he was advised to go back to college. He did, improved his outside shooting, improved his inside scoring, improved his defense. And if you don't believe me, just go back and watch that Santa Clara game from from the freaking logo. But anyways, he's not going to be a first round pick just because this is a pretty deep draft, but he still came out a better polished player. I think the same can happen for Tyler Tanner if he comes back to Vandy. I think Vanderbilt's going to be a better team this year. They've done some things in the portal. You're going to see your young people like Chandler Bing, I think, take a step forward. And I think Tyler Tanner can help infuse that roster. If he goes to the NBA, I think he's a G League player at best right now. And maybe he can, in a couple of years, he can get on our roster, and hopefully he's not one of those that says, I didn't get to play in the NBA. I'm going to come back to college because we just talked about that.
I don't think
he's that kind of kid. But I think he should come back. And maybe that's just me, and maybe that's me speaking for the Vanderbilt fandom we have here, but I think he should come back, and I think he will be a better player because of the fact that he returns to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, and you saw the leap that he made from year 1 to year 2. Now, year 1, he was a good player, but he was a role player. They had Jason Edwards, who was kind of the volume scorer in Mark Byington's first season, and I always thought it was funny when Jason Edwards entered the portal, there was a little bit of a, oh man, does Mark Byington, is he going to be able to retain his players? I know he builds through the transfer portal, but can he retain these guys?
And then he went to Providence, and we didn't hear from him again.
Well, and you realize that it's like they could afford to lose Jason Edwards, who, yes, was a great scorer, But Tyler Tanner turned into a great scorer and also was a great defender too. And it's like Mark Byington realized of, hey, Tyler Tanner, we need that spot to open up in our lineup so Tyler Tanner can end up being a central piece to this team. And he took a massive leap. Now, I don't think it's going to be the same massive leap from year 1 to year 2 as he goes from year 2 to year 3. But I do think Tyler Tanner has the ability to be one of the best players in the country this year, one of the best guards in the country. And that makes Vanderbilt a much more dangerous team. I was looking, it's May. So bracketology is way too early, but it gives you kind of an idea of where these teams stand. And Joe Lunardi in the new 76 team bracket has Vanderbilt as a 6 seed, which I think is a little bit low, but he may be working into there that there is some uncertainty under Tyler Tanner. I think this team is a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament with what they're bringing back and what they brought in from the transfer portal.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I think they can compete at a pretty high level in the SEC. The SEC as basketball conference, I think, is going to be better this year than it was last year. It's not going to be as good as it was 2 years ago, and I don't know if it ever will be because that was a historic season. Oh, look, they're covering Vandy and Jared Curtis on Pat McAfee. That's cool. That's because Nate Bargatze.
Yeah, they got Bargatze on.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, his new movie comes out next Friday.
Of which Jared Curtis is in, apparently.
You can probably see me on the sideline somewhere in those clips.
You and Andrew just hanging out next to each other, I'm sure.
No, Andrew was off with baseball.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. But anyways, on the basketball front, I think the SEC is going to be better this year than it was last year as a full conference. But I think Vanderbilt has the opportunity to be one of the upper tier teams in the SEC this year. And what I mean by that is there's usually that split right between the middle of the conference where you have the good teams and then you have the teams that are probably not going to make the tournament.
Or bubble teams.
Yeah. I think Vanderbilt can be on the high end of that first tier. I think they can be in the top 4 of the SEC this year. And I think especially that's possible if Tyler Tanner comes back to Vanderbilt. So hopefully he does. And ultimately it's his decision. We can't make it for him. But I think, and this is just my opinion and your opinion as well, I think he would be better off to come back. I think Vanderbilt would love to have him back. And I think ultimately it's going to be better for Vanderbilt and for him to come back.
Well, and, Tyler Tanner, as he's going through the process, all of his answers were, I'm doing my best to get drafted as high as possible. And that's what you have to say when you're going through that process.
Yeah.
I think Tyler Tanner has some unfinished business after watching that ball go halfway down against Nebraska.
He should.
I think he doesn't want it to end that way. He wants to come back and make a run with this team. It's funny. I was looking for bracketology and I came across on the More tab on ESPN for men's basketball. There is an NCAA tournament pain index of how painful each loss was in the NCAA tournament. Vanderbilt's was ranked as the 6th worst loss of any of the 67 teams that lost last year.
What was number 1? Duke?
Number 1 was Duke. Yep.
Yeah.
Florida was number 2.
Yeah.
Texas number 3. Santa Clara number 4. I honestly might go Santa Clara 4, but Texas was in the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
North Carolina 5, the overtime loss to VCU, and then Vanderbilt 6.
Yeah. And then probably High Point or North Carolina at 7.
Kansas at 7, Wisconsin at 8, Ohio State at 9. That is in the what just happened tier.
Where's the VCU?
That was UNC.
Yeah.
At 5. The loss to VCU.
Okay. I must have missed that.
High Point was number 14. Siena, number 15, after nearly beating Duke.
Oh, we were so excited. What a great day that was.
Let's see. I'll let you know where Kentucky is. This is an interesting article. They're 32. They're right in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah, because they got just blitzed by Iowa State.
Well, yeah. Well, it says peak win probability, 67% early in the first half, leading by 12, but also lost by 19.
Yep.
So, anyway.
Mark Pope, everyone.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. If you want to join the conversation, you can text or call. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We can continue this conversation, touch on Tennessee a little bit. Also, some extensions were handed out in the NFL last night. I did want to touch on that. We'll do our Monday headlines coming up at 11:30. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly with you. Got a few more segments. We'll do our Monday headlines coming up at the bottom of the hour. Try and predict what's going to happen over this long Memorial Day weekend. Lots of sports going on this weekend. Indy 500, SEC tournament rolls along.
Not a sport.
Man.
Sorry.
So I actually just watched the F1 movie last night with Brad
I've heard
Pitt.
good things.
It's really good.
It was good. It was good. It was well done. I usually think some of those like IP, when it's like just based off of F1 or what was the other racing one that they did?
They did the
Gran Turismo.
Yeah, Gran Turismo.
It was like that one was kind of stupid, but like
that was the video game.
Yeah,
one.
it was like, oh, he went from video games, and I guess it was based on a true story. But I thought the F1 movie was pretty good. So my definition of a sport is very specific, and I could get behind NASCAR and Indy 500, like racing being a sport.
Well, I'm going to be blacklisted off the radio from Chase McKay.
Yeah. See, so part of a definition of a sport for me is you cannot practice it the exact same way you would perform it, right? So I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, people are going to get mad at me for this, though. I would say, like, swimming and track is more of a race than a sport, right? Like, I think there has to be other variables that come into it.
Yeah. It's
I don't
all
know.
Subjective, man.
Right. I mean, honestly, I don't care all that much, but I would say Indy 500, like that takes athletic training, like and things can change at any given moment. I think I'd give it to him.
I disagree, but that's just my opinion. My definition is if it doesn't involve a ball or a puck.
Oh, okay. So you're very specific
I'm very
on
specific.
that. Yeah.
And there are some, like I think amateur wrestling, not WWE, like real wrestling, I think you could throw in there.
Yeah. Real wrestling,
Yeah.
like college wrestling. That is a sport. Yeah.
You could throw, I think swim qualifies. I know you don't qualify,
So
but I qualify.
I will take it back. Like a one swimming race, like independent of everything else, I would say is not a sport. Like if you're just like, hey, I'm going to race you to the other end of the pool. But in the terms of like a swim meet or a track meet, there is strategy that goes into that.
Yeah.
So I guess yeah.
Those I would qualify those two. My mom's gonna be so mad at me. Competitive cheer is not a sport.
Yeah.
It is a dance.
I mean, it's
a competition.
It's all subjective.
It's all subjective.
I mean, it's just
we'll have to use this in the summer when we have absolutely nothing to talk about.
This is definitely a summer topic. I just like all of it's impressive. Like I do want to say that because I don't want it to seem like demeaning anything anybody does, because I couldn't do a lot of the things that we're talking about.
You know who would disagree heavily with us on all of these things?
Who?
Well, no, but we would have to push his limits just to see what's a sport and what's not a sport.
Oh, Nick Frazier.
Nick Frazier.
Yeah, he thinks darts is a sport.
Not a sport.
I played in a darts league for the first time on Wednesday.
Anything I can drink a beer and play at the same time is not a sport. Bowling, darts. But bowling does involve a ball, so I guess that contradicts me.
Like softball. Well, I guess it's different levels of softball.
Are you talking like
beer league softball?
That's an activity. But like real softball, like what we watched, like yesterday with Tennessee and Georgia, that is in fact a sport.
I mean, back in the day, I think you could test the limits of that statement of like drinking a beer while playing it. I'm sure that back in the day, there are some sports that you would say wholeheartedly are a sport. That,
I mean, if I can sit down at a bowling alley and eat a full-size pizza and still perform at peak athleticism, that is not a sport.
We will do our Monday headlines on all of the sports coming up in the next segment. But before we do, there was some news last night about some of the extensions that came down. Matthew Stafford, number one, got a 1-year, $55 million extension that is could go up to a maximum of $60 million. And I'm looking at his career earnings right now. Matthew Stafford has cashed in.
He's gonna be wealthy for a long time.
17 years in the NFL. He has made $400 million.
And I imagine he's the kind of quarterback that I think could come back and do some media later on in life.
But honestly, I kind of put him in maybe the Ryan Tannehill box of
the Hall of Good.
Like No, like you make all of this money and just are never heard from again.
Yeah.
Like I do think that maybe that's a Matthew, although his wife is kind of out there in the public eye, right? Kelly Stafford, like she does podcasts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So maybe not.
I think he could do a really good job as an analyst. Like if they put him on that CBS panel or that Fox panel with Strahan, like once Terry Bradshaw retires, which is going to be pretty soon, and he'll retire soon, I'm sure. Like I think he's got 1 or 2 years left in him, but I could see him being a nice analyst, breaking down film. I think he would be really good at that, actually.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've got the all-time career earnings leaders up in the NFL. Do you want to try and guess like the top 10?
Okay. Tom Brady.
Tom Brady's number 4.
Number 4. Okay.
$317 million in his career.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is number 2. $395 million.
Okay.
So I've given you number 1. We Matthew Stafford is number 1.
Yeah.
$408 million with still another $60 million paycheck coming this year.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson is number 5.
Yeah.
So you got 4 of the top 5. The third one is, I think you should be able to get.
Pat Mahomes.
Mahomes is not. He is like 20th. But obviously still with a long way to go in his career. Number 3 is like the king of kind of an average quarterback, but just makes so much money.
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins is number 3.
Big Ben.
Big Ben is number 9.
Okay. How many do I have left?
You have 4.
4.
So you have 6, 7, 8, and 10.
Peyton Manning.
No, Peyton Manning's 11.
Oh.
You've got 2 active quarterbacks and 2 somewhat recently retired quarterbacks within the last 5-ish years.
Okay, let's see here. Deshaun Watson's not on this list, is he?
Deshaun Watson is number 14.
Okay.
Just in between Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning.
For all the wrong reasons. Phillip Rivers is probably on this list.
Phillip Rivers is 13.
Eli Manning.
I just said Eli's 15.
Okay.
He's in between those 2.
Okay.
Their draft classmate is in the top 10.
Their draft. Okay.
The other quarterback drafted in the first round that year.
Okay. Let me think here. Let me think. Don't go anywhere. Let me think this. Let me think this through.
There are also 2 active quarterbacks that were drafted in the same draft class as well.
Wow. Okay.
1 first overall, 1 in the 4th round.
Joe Burrow.
No. Burrow is further down the list.
Yeah, I know.
He just signed his extension, so
I know.
You want me to give him to you?
No, I'm going to figure this out. This is really bad radio, but I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to get this, and I'm going to get it.
Oh, wait, you got Ben Roethlisberger. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was looking at the wrong part. So, yeah, sorry. Roethlisberger was the one with Manning and Rivers.
Yeah,
okay.
I thought so.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. There are 2 others that are retired, 2 others that are active. They were both drafted in the 2016 draft class. If that helps you.
2016. Okay. Jared Goff.
Jared Goff is number 10.
Okay. Who was the 4th round pick in that draft class?
I want him.
Oh, Dak Prescott.
And then
Brett Favre is
Favre not on the list.
Okay.
The other
What are the
2,
other 2 then?
Matt Ryan is number 6.
Okay.
And Drew Brees is number 8.
Oh, Drew Brees.
Yep.
Oh.
So it is funny though.
I did all right.
Out of the top 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, the top 20, there are 19 quarterbacks. And that's all of the players who have made $200 million or more in their career.
It's the market, man.
19 quarterbacks. The left tackle is pretty high, though. He's 12th all time. Trent Williams.
Yeah.
$243 million.
My Lord, Trent Williams. And he's still going.
Yeah, he is. He just signed another extension. So anyway, Matthew Stafford, already the highest earner in NFL history, and he just signed another 1-year, $55 million extension. The other extension that was handed out last night, Joe Shane as the GM of the Giants.
How?
And the only thing I can use to just like understand this is that John Harbaugh likes him and realizes that he can like control him.
Somebody
right? Like,
smarter than me, please explain to me
Like,
how
well,
this
It just tells you that John Harbaugh's the GM.
right. So like Joe Shane's not in charge of personnel anymore. John Harbaugh gets the final say. So I think he's just basically like, fine, keep Joe Schoen around. And then guess what? If things go wrong, he's my first scapegoat.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's like.
So he's Trad Brinker now.
Basically, yeah. It's like Harbaugh, if he has a bad season, it can just be like, oh, well, Joe Schoen, look at the roster he built for me. See ya.
That's so. Now I'm glad that Harbaugh didn't come here.
I saw Joe Schoen's face on Twitter last night, like the graphic that Schefter put out, and I kind of thought he might have been getting fired. And I was like, that's a little bit of a weird time to fire the GM. And it was like, no, he got an extension. How he recovered from the offseason Hard Knocks, I will never understand.
I mean, I will never not think about the clip of him asking his son who to draft, and he's saying, draft Jaden Daniels.
Well, he couldn't draft Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
The one that gets me is him saying, what are we paying Daniel Jones $40 million a year for? It's not to hand it off to a $25 million a year running back.
Then said $25 million a year running back goes to your rival and wins the Super Bowl.
Runs for 2,000 yards and wins the Super Bowl the next year. I mean, and like the owner, John Mara, saying, man, I just don't know if I could sleep at night if he ended up going to Philly. And Joe Schoen's like, it's okay. We'll make it work. That is the most public pie in the face for a general manager of all time. That is like if Hard Knocks was following the Titans during the draft where Robinson traded AJ Brown, and like you watch him conceptualize that, and then AJ Brown goes out and becomes what he has become.
And then they show Vrabel's reaction.
Right. Like,
I'll never forget that.
John Robinson didn't recover from that move, and it wasn't shown on HBO. Right? Like, I don't know how Joe Schoen recovered from that, but he just got himself a nice little extension. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Coming up next, we will try and predict what's going to happen over Memorial Day weekend. We are bad at this, but we're going to keep trying on our Monday headlines segment after this. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly with you on this Friday morning. We got a couple more segments left with you before the long weekend.
You owe me $10.
Do we need to clear the air, Connor? Like, what's going on here?
Coldplay sucks.
Oh man, that's a hot take.
Whoa.
Not a fan.
It's not like Michael Jackson or Prince, but like,
that's not to that level. But I didn't know this.
I feel like Coldplay is one of those that's kind of like a universally at least tolerated band. Like
They don't suck. I was exaggerating. They don't suck, but I'm not personally a fan.
well, like Joe Rexroad was going after Maroon 5 earlier this
Their
week.
old stuff's great.
So like I've seen the TikToks about this. It's like because Songs About Jane is a great album. Their first album, lots of great songs on that. But they're like TikToks of like it's Maroon 5 sitting in the room. It's like, you know that great album that we just made? Yeah, let's never do that again. And, you know, their new stuff I'm not as big of a fan.
No, it's not good.
But Coldplay at the very least
They have a few that are okay.
they have some really good songs. I don't listen to their stuff anymore. I don't even know if they're putting out new music, but I do like Yellow.
Yellow's great.
Clocks and Fix You. Like those are all good songs.
Viva La
La
Vida?
Vida. Yeah.
Just doesn't do it for me. That's just me.
Dude, I mean, like, come on. Like,
That's just,
you don't have
look
to
at
be a
Nick Frazier. He's
diehard.
proud of me. Frazier supports this.
Wow. That was the song that we we walked out of our venue with. To
I'm
the
kind of
Sparklers,
floored
I think.
right now.
Oh,
Sky Full of Stars.
I'm
kind of floored right
I
now.
left.
I don't know.
I love you, but I left.
I was trying to leave too. 615-737-1025. Let's do our Monday headlines here. Let's predict what's going to happen this weekend. We've got options. You can go anywhere with this, Connor. What you got? What do you think is going to happen this weekend?
Oh, screw it. I'll go to the Indy 500. And just because, we do a lot of manifesting on this
Yeah, you're
program.
going with our guy.
We're going with my good buddy, who I have a picture with. I met him, went to my high school, actually. I met him a few times, a couple of years ago. Our guy, Mr. Joseph Newgarden.
Yep.
To win the Indy 500 for the third consecutive
That sounds right. Yeah, because you won it last year. I feel like we picked this on the Saturday show last year, and one of us was right picking Joseph Newgarden.
Yeah. He probably won't because we're manifesting.
He came in here on the show like early on, like right as we started the show.
He's awesome.
Before the Borchetta Bourbon Music City Grand Prix last year.
The street where my high school is literally named. I think it says Newgarden Boulevard.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. Indy 500 always one of the good events of the great events of the year.
One of like two races I watch all year.
Yeah, the one here in the Indy 500.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go big for this one.
Swing it.
I'm not just going for this weekend. Colorado, Carolina both dropped game one. I'm not worried about it. Both are going to come back and win the series.
I love that.
I'm not like I don't know if that's a super hot take because like they are the favorites, but they both dropped game one at home. I think they both get wins tonight and tomorrow to even the series, and they end up winning the series and matching up in the Stanley Cup final. So give me the favorites. Give me Colorado, Carolina. Parker, what you got?
So, like, are we going out in the future here? Are we like predicting?
I mean, I would say keep it within the realm of possibility. Like we're not picking the national champion in football next year.
Okay.
But
all right.
He's already
I
got
got a little bit of a heater here.
99 days till college football.
So I have been locked in on this season, the series between the Thunder and Spurs.
okay.
This thing's going to 7.
Yep.
And the Spurs are going to win it.
Ooh. So
Okay.
you think even though they're young, they can get it done?
Victor Wembanyama is an alien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He should not be able to do what he does at 7'4".
Yep.
It's impossible. But yet he does it anyway.
I like that.
Extraterrestrial.
So you're going Spurs and 7.
I'm going Spurs and 7. Give me Spurs and Knicks. That would be a fun finals.
Yeah, and the Knicks, we were talking with Ian after Robbie Rexroad of like, man, they are playing really good basketball right now.
Well, Danhausen cursed the Cavs. That's
Yeah.
why.
Well, and the comeback from down 22 back on Tuesday night,
They're cursed.
I just don't think the Cavs can come back from that. That is such an emotional drop off of you're going to go win game one in the Garden, and now you're down 2-0 heading back home. It's tough.
It's because of Danhausen. He cursed them on first date.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. You know Danhausen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He cursed them. And then it was the day of the 22-point comeback.
Crazy.
Cursed them.
By the
over.
way, Nate Bargatze's on the Pat McAfee show right now.
Yeah.
And they were just talking about the seed oil thing.
They were.
I think we as a group need to try the peanut butter and jelly.
Nate Bargatze
yeah.
said they're just going to have pumps of seed oils for the popcorn at his new movie.
I think we as a unit just need to get the peanut butter and jelly and try it.
Yeah, is it jams?
Jams.
Okay,
We gotta
I'm in.
try it.
We'll have to try the official.
And compare it to Uncrustables.
Yeah. See, I'm an Uncrustables fan.
I am too.
So I guess the NFL can't serve Uncrustables anymore.
Yeah.
It's the exclusive peanut butter and jelly partner.
That's crazy.
We got to try jams now.
Uncrustables.
All right,
There's a Kroger down the street. I'll go to it. We'll do it.
Connor, your first one was Joseph Newgarden winning the Indy 500. What is your second Monday headline?
My second Monday headline. That's a great question.
I've got mine if you want to look.
Oh, well, I got to go in the battle of Connor and Christian this weekend.
Oh, Reds, Cardinals?
Cardinals. The Cardinals are on the road against the Reds. They finally dropped a series for the first time in a long time. They dropped one to the Pirates, but the Tarps are coming back off. Cardinals win 2 of 3 against the Reds.
Tigers get swept. Parker.
What a bold take that is.
The Detroit Tigers have made me sad, and so I'm going to just play into it. They get swept by the Orioles this weekend. Parker, wrap us up. What's your last one?
The Lady Vols will sweep the Georgia Bulldogs in
Super
softball
regional.
and go to the College World Series.
There you go. That's a good one.
Shout out Carlin Pickens.
Yeah, super regionals this weekend in college softball. Next weekend, regional weekend in baseball. And I know Vanderbilt unlikely to be a part of it, but it's always the college baseball tournament's always fun, especially when you get to Omaha. You get the Jello shot challenge, and
we always talk about that too.
Yeah.
Buttholes will be tight for me on Monday.
Yeah. Kentucky is going to be right on the bubble.
I think I saw they are last 4 in.
They're probably going to be one of, I would say within a 4 of the last 2 in or the first 2 out. They're going to be in that range somewhere.
It's the RPI keeping them alive. It's in the 30s.
Because they only won 2 SEC series.
Yes.
And
one of them was their very first series. Yeah.
A win against Vandy would have gone a long way for Kentucky, but it'll be interesting. Selection show is on Monday afternoon. 615-737-1025. We'll take any of your predictions for the weekend if you have them, and we will wrap up the show after this. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, next man up here on 1025 The Game.
That's better. You've redeemed yourself. This is probably my favorite song of hers.
Yeah, that's a good one. Enchanted. I like Sparks Fly too.
Is that on the same album?
It might be.
Yeah.
Is that Fearless? I don't know.
I think it's Fearless.
I couldn't tell you the discography of Taylor Swift, but this is a good one. Jake Lyman, Connor Nute, Parker Kelly, wrapping up the show here on Next Man Up. Chase and Big Joe are coming up after us at the top of the hour.
We think.
Yeah.
Will Chase make it into work today?
Yeah. I'm hoping so.
I'm leaning no, but I'd love to be surprised.
Barge into the studio.
It'd be like at the Royal Rumble. Like we're not expecting.
That's Chase McCabe's music.
Oh my God, there he is.
You got anything going on this weekend, Connor? Long weekend?
I mean, the first week of full time, I'm gonna be recovering,
relaxing.
man. We get Monday off, so I am going to take advantage of that for sure. I don't know. There's a lot of sports to watch this weekend.
Yeah.
And the Indy 500.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to Stapleton. I do have tickets now, so I'm excited for that. I haven't been to a concert in a long time. I'm trying to think of
that was me a couple weeks ago. I went to Brew on Mars a couple weeks ago, and I was like, it's been a while.
I think the last concert I went to was actually last April. I saw Warren Zeiders in Raleigh with my cousin. And so I think that's the last time I've been to a concert. So I'm excited for that. That'll be fun. Lainey Wilson, Chris Stapleton.
I need to look at who's coming this summer.
There's not a ton of good ones.
Really?
I think Post Malone and Jelly Roll is like late June, which I like Post Malone's new like country album.
Yeah,
I think it's good. And I think he's coming out with another one, but I don't know.
Didn't they cancel a bunch of shows for that though?
They did. I don't think they were selling as many tickets as they thought they would.
He's not a stadium tour guy to me.
Yeah.
Or stadium. Like
I think he was, but he's doing a second stadium tour in a row on the same album. It's like I think you got to release new music to be able to tour on it.
Yeah.
Anyway, because the summer he went on tour last time, I want to say that was the summer into the fall that like I Had Some Help came out, and like Post Malone was hot at that moment. I wouldn't say he's as like big right now. I'm kind of with you. Like outside of the concert, it's gonna rain a lot this weekend. I'm kind of good just staying in and watching some of these games.
I'm excited to stay in, getting a little nap in.
Yeah.
I'll love that.
I kind of wish, and I know that like the schedule, the US Open's always on Father's Day, but I wish the PGA Championship was this weekend, because last weekend I didn't have as much time to just sit down and watch some of the golf. And it's like, the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson is this weekend. It's a fine event. But I'm more of a majors guy for golf. I don't get locked in on some of the smaller tournaments.
Oh, look who's on Pat McAfee.
Oh, it's Jared Curtis.
It's Jared Curtis.
Wow.
There he is.
Live in person, by the way.
You knew Nate Bargatze was going to make that happen.
That's kind of crazy.
Good for him. Good for him. Sits right next to Nate Bargatze.
Just a very like subtle handshake with Nate Bargatze too.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a rainy weekend. But I mowed the lawn earlier this week.
Wow,
so
good for you.
So I'm good. Like I have stuff to do around the house and stuff, but I'm good.
I believe part of my duties tonight is to help clean the apartment. We got back from the wedding and like immediately packed for the honeymoon. So it was kind of a mess when we got back, and we haven't done a full on cleaning since then. So I think tonight that is the plan, is to clean the apartment. So I'm looking forward to
it done tonight. Then you get the rest of the
right.
weekend.
Don't have to worry about it. So no, it'll be a good weekend. I'm excited. Memorial Day weekend, always fun. Hopefully the weather gets better. It hasn't been good this week, and it doesn't look like the forecast is all that great, but man, I'm kind of excited. I want to go back and watch this now. Jared Curtis on the Pat McAfee show.
I'll probably watch this. Like, I'm not a huge Vandy fan, but it's interesting. Like, it's pretty impactful for,
right.
Look, the Vanderbilt quarterback is on Pat McAfee, and it's a big deal.
Before he even plays the snap.
Yeah.
That's crazy. We do have some games tonight. We just went through our Monday headlines, talked a little basketball, talked a little bit of hockey. And tonight it's Avalanche Golden Knights game 2, Spurs Thunder game 3. I'm excited for both of these. Avalanche in a similar spot to where the Thunder were in game 2 of like, hey, you kind of got to win this one. Don't want to go on the road to Vegas down 0-2. So this is a big one for Colorado, and a big game for the Spurs, I think, in game 3 in San Antonio. You don't want to let the Thunder reclaim home court advantage. maybe they do get one in San Antonio, but I think the Spurs want to set the tone, get ahead 2-1, and have a chance to take a 3-1 lead at home coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the environment in San Antonio because the environment in Oklahoma City was awesome. Like it felt like a college game, to be honest with you. They were loud, they were engaged the whole game. And that's what I miss about the NBA. I miss those crowds. Like now, I think it's because the regular season is so long. They don't really care until the fourth quarter, and even then it has to be like relatively close for them to care. Now, like they're playing in meaningful basketball games, so I think they care a lot more, and it's a lot cooler to see.
Yeah, that should be a fun one tonight, and then throughout the weekend, obviously, we'll get more games tomorrow. Cavs, Knicks, and Hurricanes and Canadiens, and that's a big one for Carolina, who is just horrible in conference finals.
I feel bad.
0-7 in game 1 of conference final series.
How?
I don't know how that even happened. And I think I saw that they lost. It just ended last year, I think, that they finally got one win in a conference final series, but they had lost like 15 in a row before that.
Jeez.
Crazy.
I mean, what are they coming off of? 11 days rest because they swept their first 2 series. So
yeah,
they're 8-1 in the playoff right now.
It was the longest amount of rest between series in NHL history. And so they scored 30 seconds in, like they scored right off the bat and then gave up 4 goals in a row.
Yeah.
So maybe the goalie was a little bit rusty.
Yeah.
0667 on the text line says, first, he says Saturday, McEwen High School plays in their first ever state championship in softball. So
good luck.
Congratulations to McEwen High School. Good luck trying to win that state title. Also mentions Cosmic Baseball at First Horizon Park. I've heard of this. It's like
glow-in-the-dark baseball, right?
Yeah, but it's knockoff Savannah Bananas. So it started in Richmond, actually, because I remember one of my friends, it started the same way as the Savannah Bananas did, it was a collegiate summer league team. So the Tri-City Chili Peppers were the ones who started Cosmic Baseball, and it was a summer league team. And then they evolved it into this circus that it's become.
That was one of the greatest moments in you and I being on the radio.
Oh my God.
History,
yeah.
When I don't remember who started it.
No, somebody texted in and said that the Savannah Bananas could beat the Nashville Sounds. And I just about lost it on the air.
I'll never ever forget that.
I mean,
all time.
Need Parker to pull up the Billy Madison clip again, because it's the response was, like 5 or 6 of those guys on the Bananas got drafted. Like, you want to know how many of the Nashville Sounds got drafted?
How many of them are one phone call away from playing in the best league?
All of them. Like, I just don't think people understand how good AAA baseball is sometimes. And honestly, to each their own of like, you've got it. Yeah.
Most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
The decathlon.
See, that is my response to anyone saying the Savannah Bananas could beat the Nashville Sound.
That is the best Adam Sandler movie. I'll die on that hill.
Or when Fraser tried to argue that Vandy could beat the Titans.
Yeah, no, it's like people understand that there are levels to this, right? Like the best player on the Savannah Bananas could not play minor league baseball. That's why he's playing for the Savannah Bananas.
Which is another thing I genuinely don't understand the hype for. Like,
see,
maybe I'm a baseball purist.
To each their own. Everybody can enjoy what they like. I'm not going to be the fun police here and tell you that you shouldn't enjoy it, but it's not my thing.
Yeah,
like I enjoy baseball as baseball, and I don't want to go watch trick plays and all that stuff. But you enjoy your what you want.
Like, they're doing something right. They're selling out massive stadiums.
It's your own thing. If you think it's fun, you go enjoy it. I'm not gonna be mad at it. That does it for us today, Connor. Always appreciate you coming in.
Always appreciate the opportunity.
Hope everyone out there has a fun, and safe Memorial Day weekend. We will be back on Tuesday to react to everything that happens over the next 3 days. But Chase and Big Joe are coming up next. You're on 102.5 The Game.